the meantime, as you mentioned earlier, we had former Secret Service head Mo Shaik having been appointed as chief executive of the Development Bank International, which is a subsidiary of the Development Bank of Southern Africa. And in that CNBC Africa exclusive, Lindsay sat down with him to discuss his new role.
I think all of those things that I've done, well, being a top minister gives me sight, so I know about sight. Being in intelligence gives me the methodology to evaluate political risk, which is a very important part of banking. And being an ambassador gives me the knowledge of knowing how to engage with different sovereigns in Africa. So I think all of them actually contribute to the skill set that's very necessary for being an effective subsidiary of the DBSA, which is the DBI.
Now, this is some job you've taken on. I mean, it's estimated that Africa needs something like $93 billion spent on infrastructure to help oil the wheels of business. How are you going to tackle it?
Well, I think we all know that the infrastructure need in Africa is far greater than the resources available. So it's a question of how you smartly use available resources to achieve what you want to do. And there are a couple of things. Firstly is to prepare projects very well. That gives comfort to investors to invest in it, to finance these projects very well, to ensure that there's the operation and maintenance of those projects, and that you deal with the capacity necessary to run projects in Africa efficiently. So it's about bringing together all of that skill set and ensuring a comfort level for investors to be able to invest in infrastructure projects in Africa. It's no easy task, but we think that that is the differentiator of the DBI.
So let's get down to dollars and cents. You're looking to raise a fund of about $10 billion to spend across Africa.
Yes.
And how are you going to get it? You're talking to the Chinese at the moment, you're going to talk to?
Well, we want to talk to anyone who has money, who has available capital, who's prepared to put that capital into a platform such as the DBI to convert risk capital to investment capital. So we're speaking to our traditional partners, which is across Europe. And of course, we also speaking to the Chinese in regard to their availability of capital and know-how to deal with large-scale projects on the continent.
And this, you're looking for hard-headed investors who are out for a return.
Indeed. We think that the development financing space is also about giving a financial sustainability, and then there must be a return to investors. It may not be the kind of return they would expect, but in the depressed economies that we are, we think that a return from the DBI would manage their expectations.
Now, following furious negotiations, I'm sure, over the next 6 months, you're looking to set up next year.
Yes.
I mean, just in layman's terms, what sort of projects would you say would be the legacy of this DBI?
Well, we're going to concentrate on energy, transport, and bulk water. On the energy, we need to understand the energy gaps in Africa and how we can bring energy into Africa rapidly and with speed. So you'll be looking at hydropower stations, you'll be looking at renewable energy projects, we'll be looking at port, rail, transport, roads, one-stop border post. So it is in the space of energy, transport, and bulk water.
And which countries are you going to be looking at across the continent?
Well, the growth areas for the continent is in East Africa, so we'll be looking towards all of the East African countries, Kenya and beyond. There's the enormous challenges of South Sudan. We need to integrate the South Sudanese economy into the region. We think East Africa is growing, and there's a market that we could play in East Africa, and so too in West Africa. West Africa is starting to grow. You're looking at Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, Guinea-Conakry, and to bring the kind of expertise necessary for them to realize their own economic trajectories.
Now, your diverse background, I mentioned in the intro, a lot of people have said that they would rather see a banker in your job. What do you say to that?
Sure. I mean, banking is about managing the optimism of an investor, of a transactor, with the pessimism of risk. I think that it is not necessarily the only skills required to be a good banker. A good banker must be able to understand the market, which is what intelligence gives me. My business school experience allows me to read the balance sheets and to know when a project is going right or wrong, and those are skills that we have in a bank. But essentially, it is about the skills of giving effective leadership, and I think that is what I bring to the DBI.
And lastly, and very briefly, where's your next trip in the great negotiation to bring the millions to Africa?
Oh, well, it'll be here, Cape Town, and then from Cape Town, perhaps Beijing, and then to the capitals of Europe.